I moved into my van in July of 2023 and it's been super challenging and super rewarding at the same time. Right before the van life, I watched a ton of videos on where to start, what are the things you have to know as a beginner van lifer. I couldn't really find that one video that prepared me the most or gave me enough confidence. And that's why I decided to make the only video that you need to watch if you're considering a van life. And at the end of this video, I will share how much you need to save up to comfortably start this amazing journey. So let's get into these 5 things immediately. The first and probably the most important thing is you have to know your why. What is the reason you want to do this? Is that reason big enough? Is your why strong enough? Because there would be some challenging moments both physically and mentally. Are you going to be able to keep going when you run out of water in your van just like I did? What if battery died in your van and you're stuck somewhere you're not familiar with? What are you going to do now? These things you have to consider. Personally for me, my why, I went through betrayal. My marriage didn't work out. So there I was at 30 years old, all alone. So I decided to step up and bring new life, new journey, new experience into my life, and I moved into my van. Because life really is freaking short, and at the end of our lives, we will only regret about things we haven't done rather than things we have done. And being on the road full time and exploring new places is not just that, it's actually the journey of self-discovery. It is always being outside of your comfort zone, which leads to comfort and growth. So what is your why? The second important tip is don't overspend on the purchase of your van. What kind of van is it going to be? Is it actually going to be a van, or is it going to be a truck with a truck bed camper on it? Is it going to be an RV or a motorhome? Whatever you decide on, do not spend too much money on it. I personally recommend going the Class B camper van route. That's what I have. They're smaller, they're nimble, easy to park, and to stealth camp. I paid for mine $5,500, plus I invested around $4,000 to do some upgrades, like I replaced the fridge, I installed the solar panels, I built in my office, and it's nothing fancy, and I'm okay with it. It's actually cool and vintage, and I personally love my van. And it didn't cost me that much too. And a lot of people might consider Sprinter vans just because they're popular and they're everywhere. I personally advise you to stay away from Sprinter vans for several reasons. One of them being they're super expensive. I actually made a YouTube video on why you should not buy a Sprinter van, especially for your first one. So I'm gonna attach that video somewhere here and also link to it in the description. And in that same video, I also give you 3 great recommendations on what to purchase when you consider the van life. The third important tip is go minimalist. Get rid of majority of your stuff. I am serious. The crap that we have, most of the crap that we have in our homes are so unnecessary. And I think it doesn't just clutter your space, but it clutters your mind. Consumerism, I think, is a real epidemic. It's a real mental problem that people have nowadays. And I was one of them as well. And we have to deal with it if we want to feel happy and in peace. For necessary stuff that you want to keep, you can get a storage, or maybe ask one of your friends to keep your stuff at their place. I moved from over 2,000 square feet house into less than 100 square feet camper van, and it took me a lot. It was a struggle to downsize that much, but I know it was necessary because now I feel mentally free and light. And instead of focusing on materialistic stuff, now I'm focusing on improving myself, enjoying myself, and going places I've never been to. And if you want to see how I was moving out of my house and then what it took me to move into my camper van, you should check out this video here, and I also will include it in the description below. Very important thing number 4 that we're gonna cover is your plan and the systems in place. How to go about everyday stuff like water, food, taking a shower, going to the bathroom.
Flashback.
There is my bathroom in the closet, but so far, to be honest, in a few months living in my van, I haven't had to use it. It's buried under my sleeping bag, but it's nice to have it because I might use it someday, right? Parking your car and etc. in normal life is not even a thought, but it is something you have to think about every single day when you live in your van. So let's cover those things here. Let's start with water. I have a faucet that is hooked up to 19-gallon water tank in my van, and I also have a water heater. So I have 2 faucets actually. So yes, it's a little luxury that I have in my van. But to do everyday stuff like washing my dishes, washing some veggies and fruits or whatever, having my tea or taking a shower, it lasts me about 5 to 6 days, 19 gallons of water that I have. And You can fill up your water tank at any bigger gas stations like Love's or Flying J and any other really big truck stop. And also any RV dump stations will also have a water stations. And I personally been making friends everywhere I go. So I've been filling up my water tank at people's places. All you have to do is just ask. Now let's talk about showers. I personally take showers at Planet Fitnesses. Planet Fitness is, to be honest, not my favorite gym, but I love Planet Fitness for one thing. They're literally everywhere. Any town you go to, you're always gonna find Planet Fitness. And when I'm out in the nature, in the middle of nowhere, I take showers in my van. To be exact, outside of my van, because my van is too small, doesn't have the shower inside. So I have it outside and it's pretty cool. And obviously when I'm invited to spend some time with people, I take advantage of that too. Now let's cover the parking. You got to be very mindful about where you're staying for the night in your van. So far, since I moved into my van in July of 2023, I only got one fine for parking in no parking zone for the night, and that was in Southern California. It cost me $96. I was bummed out, but to be honest, I'm grateful it was just one fine so far. And then I found this great free app called Overlander app. That app is incredibly helpful and incredibly resourceful, and that app helps you to find the spot for the night, whether it's a free campsite or a paid campsite or any parking lots that are available for van lifers. And also through that app you can find the water station, you can find a laundromat, a bunch of other cool things. And like I said, it's completely free, and I will put the link for that app in the description. And if you're actually finding any value in this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. This would mean a lot more than you know. Appreciate you, and let's keep going. Now let's quickly talk about food and cooking situation. It totally depends on your setup in your van or RV, whatever you have. I personally have a 2-burner stove. I have a fridge.
Hello there.
I have a sink, so I can comfortably cook a lot of different meals in here. So now you have to ask yourself, what kind of setup you would like to have, whether your van gonna have a lot of setup at all. You can get away with like camping stove setups, but I don't think it's gonna be as comfortable as the setup I, for instance, have in my van, but it's something for you to determine. Now let's move on to doing the laundry. As I mentioned earlier, the app Overlander gonna be a huge help here, and it doesn't cost a lot at all. I do my laundry about 2, maybe 3 times a month. It costs me about $12 to $15. So again, link to Overlander app in the description. Now let's talk internet and Wi-Fi. Very important. Here's a few things how to stay connected. In the very beginning, I would hang out a lot at libraries and Starbucks. Again, the convenient factor. They're literally everywhere. Also, you can use your personal hotspot from your phone to run your laptop, but I believe there's a limit on how much you can use your hotspot. My limit is about 10 gigabytes, so that lasts me only a few days. However, a couple months ago, I added this thing into my van, portable Wi-Fi solution, and it's amazing. It's very small and cute and works great. From doing a lot of due diligence on how to stay connected while you're on the road full time, this happened to be the best way to go about staying connected. I'm personally very satisfied because it gets the signal even in rural areas, and it doesn't cost that much as well. I believe you can run up to like 5 or 6 devices at the same time, which is great. And it doesn't cost that much as well. It's about $85 a month or something. Very reasonable. And if you want to receive 10% off your order, use the link in the description below. Some people use this as their primary Wi-Fi source, which is pretty cool. Again, check out the link in the description below. And one more thing to cover here regarding your plans and the systems in place is how to charge your devices. Right before I moved into my van, I installed the solar panels on my van, which I'm so happy about it because that's my main way how I run my laptop, my cameras, my phone or whatever. And I also have 3 power banks. One of them, well, the other one is somewhere here. Need to find it, but this been also obviously great way to charge my devices. I know a lot of people use like generators and these portable power bank stations and charging stations. I didn't have to be honest, purchase any of those, and to be honest, I'm against the generators anyway. So for you, depending on how many devices you have to decide what's the charging capability that you have to have in your van. And finally, the thing number 5 that we're gonna cover is your budget. And obviously this highly depends on your personal preferences and how much it costs you to sustain your lifestyle. But with the van life, your lifestyle obviously going to be different. You're not going to be able to just go every weekend or whatever and spend money on extra pair of shoes that you don't really need, or extra pants that you're going to have to store somewhere in the house and never really wear, because here in your van, you have limited space, and that's actually going to save you a ton of money. So, regarding your expenses, right before you move into your van, I highly advise you to save up 4 to 6 months of your living expenses minus housing expenses, just because you don't have the housing bills anymore, which is pretty cool. And 4 to 6 months personally for me was enough time to come up with the way of start making money while I'm living in my van full-time on the road. And you might not even have to worry about it if you're already working from anywhere you want. So my way of making money is I got into real estate. So I started wholesaling and buying real estate. The sunset is too beautiful in here. We gotta check it out. So yeah, I got into real estate. If you want to check out how I make money, how I buy and sell real estate, there's actually a bunch of videos on my YouTube channel. Go check it out. But let's check out this beautiful sunset. Oh my God, how picturesque. So if you want the breakdown of my monthly expenses by categories on a monthly basis, you should watch this video here. I'll see you in the next one.